Good afternoon and happy Guru Purnima to all. I was asked to do a reading on Ramana Maharishi, and I do have an image of Arunachala behind him, which is perfect, so let's go ahead and get started with this reading. Okay, so going up to his image, one can feel the pendulum completely balance. Okay, so he's a mystic man, a sage, a man of silence, just impenetrable silence, without anything covering that stillness. Okay, so again, it's saying, no, there's nothing covering him in that way. With this pure consciousness, it's just that, and that's it. Okay, so there it is, yes. And that is concrete. It is substantial. It is unmoving, unchanging. Okay, so he frequented temples in the beginning, and in his youth, he did go to temples, and he would sit in with those walls around him in that, and what I'm hearing is isolation, but that just means that sanctuary of that private world where he would rest his head or rest his form there, and the energy within those walls of sacredness. And I can see it feels like the temple was one where there was a lot of the saints, images of the saints within those walls. And he was there, and he would just sit there for hours and feel that energy and allow it to absorb him really into its sacredness. He would contemplate the lives of those saints and what that meant, how they lived without stain. They lived lives of mercy or surrender, and really stainless is the word, not with self-interest. Okay, so that's where he spent some of his time. Of course, he had his other activities too, but okay, so again, you can see the pendulum going to his ears, in which it's showing he listened. He listened without judgment. He listened without putting his interests or his desires over something, or his colorizations. It just was a pure type of listening, a pure type of ingesting. All of the sacredness, again, is the word coming, or the energies that were there that would also help to break down whatever whatever little bits of threads were there. It's for him to enter complete stillness. See if this is right so far. Yes. Okay, so I can see him as a young boy, in which he would do some sports and things. He never, I don't know if he thought of himself as ever being a sage. It says no, and I don't know if he sat there, he didn't have like the foresight to know what was coming next. It's just, he was more in the moment in that way. But it did, this current of divine grace carried him, and you see the pendulum saying yes along in his life, as if it just, he didn't have any resistance to that. He didn't have that in him where he would push back on that or say, this is what I want or when I want it. Okay, you can see, no. He just let that river, that current of grace carry him and have pretty much like, thy will be done, O Lord. So to let his will, whatever that really was, as fragile as it was, to be washed completely clean, he just allowed that. He didn't put up a fight with this at all. So things moved along for him like that, and he just he did wonder sometimes about things in himself. He did have questions in there when he was younger. They did come up. You can see I would resonate. What is that type of thing? Who am I? This would resonate in him. Okay, you can see it's relatively weak though, so it's not like he grappled with this and tried to understand it intellectually, not even at all. It just would come, and he would allow that to open the doors to his hearts, which are like the sanctuary in there, to leave that to laid bare so this pristine energy could really absorb him, swallow him up in a way, whatever individuality may have been there. So this is what, again, his main teaching would be, is who am I? And with that, people get very mixed up on that and want to try to grasp to an identification with it, but this isn't really what that's meant. It's meant to allow one to just be dissolved within the absolute, not to look for answers in that intellectually. Okay, so he moved along. There was a time, it just feels as if when he was at his uncle's or something there, in which there was a death experience that came to him. Okay, so you see the pendulum getting really big now, saying, yes, I see it, him in his youth more laying down, and he was contemplating this death thing. It was like I can see a coffin there, like he felt that death around him, and he didn't fight with that. It was more like, okay, my body will die, and what remains kind of thing. He could feel that happening. Okay, so there is a yes to that, and he allowed that came more in a spontaneous way, and then at that point, then the rest of whatever little bits may have been in his feelings of individuality were washed clean, as he felt afterwards just this pure I resonating, which is a pure I of all. So let's make sure this is correct. Whoops. Yes, so this is correct. And from there he went, he wandered, really much to the dismay of his family, where he left and wandered to be near Arunachala. He's just slept, sometimes just woke up, or when he was walking in his trance type states or deep samadhi states, he really didn't know where he was or how he got from place to place. Okay, he just was in the deep samadhi state like that. So things were, whatever was happening with his body was really happening more automatically. He just wasn't there in the workings of that body. So he did wander along. He went to Tiruvannamalai. He went there. He found himself there, and he did dwell there. He dwelled in the areas of caves and different things. He did go to a temple there where it's getting very heavy now. When these two are together, it's heavy. It's, oh man, that's nice. It's a great heaviness of this weight of that Arunachala, that feeling of just that ground of being with knowledge. Okay, knowledge of that didn't come from this body mind, knowledge non-dual knowledge, Okay, so he went into a temple there where it rained, and he felt like in that way with the rain, he took the blessing of being a swami, being a renunciate. He never touched money again. It was the cleansing or the bath. The rain was before going into the temple, so it just happened that way, and he that was it for him. And being a renunciate, he didn't feel like that was something that he was or in an identity. It was letting go of all attachments without in that way. It was just releasing whatever was there. And again, this wasn't done like he did it like as an effort. There was no real effort there. It just was there. These things were very spontaneous for him in his life. And let's see if he did have to make some efforts at any point, really. Okay, you can see, no, it was if there was effort when he was younger, it was weak, which means he never overlaid his will over this divine flow, this current, this is, yes, he never put his will onto it, ever. Let's see if this is right. This is correct. So that just was there for him. So, sometimes we say these things, okay, it was a renunciate, which means letting go. Okay, that's not like, a conscious thing. And for him, it was just there. It was kind of like, there was a few little knots possibly there that just came up, and like this big current just washes it away. There's no resistance at all. All right, so he did spend some time there in Arunachala, in areas there where he was bitten a lot by mosquitoes. He was not really even conscious to the world so much. He really ate very little. I mean, there were kind people that may leave him a little bit of food or something that so he could stay alive, but he barely really... it didn't feel like he cared really whether his body stayed alive or not. Let's see if this is right. No, is this correct? Okay, it is. So it just didn't matter. I mean, that body wasn't him. It just, if it stayed alive, it did. If it didn't, it didn't. But fortunately, he was taken from there, and kind people helped to clean him up and give him food. Let's see if this is right. Okay, is this wrong? Okay, well, this is wrong. So maybe first he went to Arunachala. Is this right? Okay. But he did receive some help along the way with getting him cleaned up and food and things. So let's see where the pendulum, though, wants to go with this. Okay. Okay, so he did. He resided in a lot of the area in Arunachala. In the hill here, where it was like a diamond light to him. He was just gone there to this beautiful absolute in which he had no again resistance to it, no way or fight to or ability to be what is the word again, to be back within a mind-body connection. It just wasn't there. So that he just was there in it. Really no words are coming because there was nothing that one could say or one could speak of there, that there was an individual self. He was very silent. He was silent in his speech. He was silent in every way imaginable. Nothing barring that, nothing above or below that or in between. Okay, let's see if this is right. So let's see. Okay, and then as we know, he did, let's see if there's anything else though. Okay, so these two had this way of being syncing up as if they were, there was this connection, this force, and it's really all one can say. This was his focal point. I mean, this was his guru. This was Ramana's guru in a way, and he gave all to this holy mountain that he felt was Shiva. Okay, so anything else there? And then anything else? So yes, so there's a lot of books written with his answers to questions from devotees. There is a lot of miracles worked by Ramana. And again, you say by Ramana, he would never say this was any of his doing. It just wasn't there. There's a lot of offerings given to him, but he never saw himself as being different from anything else. He never saw himself as being above, below anything. It was almost like, none of it was him. None of it mattered to him. He was so still. He was such a light, really, and a magnificent light, just stainless, without any marks on him of being soiled. It just very, very weird, beyond measure fortunate to have had him on this earth and to still have his words, his energy here. Okay, so let's see anything about his life else right now. I mean, certainly this could go on and on. All right, so let's see now about his consciousness. Okay, yes, his consciousness. Okay, okay, it's not, oh gosh, it's just, it's without stain. It's the same purity. It's, it's not going to be any different than that it was when he was in body or out. It made absolutely no difference to him. His consciousness remained the same, unwavering, steady, non-dual, without any thing gathered or collected from drama, from worldly things, from thoughts, from feelings of an individual self. All was the same to him. There wasn't devotees and a sage. It was just all exactly, uniformly the same. Pure consciousness, that's it. In body, out, all of it. See if this is correct. Okay, so anything else? Nothing else is coming for him. And what can we say? It's interesting that more of the story came for him, but yeah, pretty easy reading for him. Okay, thank you for asking me to do this reading, and may all have a wonderful day. Namaste. Bye-bye.